Guys, right now let's bring in Troy Renck from the Denver Post. When you say Broncos beat writer, what that means is you're out there every day.
All the time.
I mean, look, as a TV guy, as a sports guy, you're out there maybe twice a week on media days or whatever. Then you got to cover everything else.
Right.
You got to cover the Rockies end of the season. You got to go out to Nuggets training camp. You got to go down and cover the Avalanche. So when you're the Broncos beat writer, you know stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And Troy Renck is with us now. Troy, thanks for being with us on the Orange and Blue Review. How you doing this morning, man?
Doing fantastic, guys. How are you?
We're doing well.
Not bad. We're trying to find things to worry about here, Troy, and to kind of pick apart and find some negative aspects. We've talked about Monte Ball and the injury and his production before the injury. But what do you see we need to worry about on this football team?
Well, they're still trying to come together completely defensively. You saw they were much better with Danny Trevathan, but that's still an issue. Hey, they haven't played their best defensive game, but the fact that Von Miller is playing like an all-pro is a huge benefit going forward, and they have to run the ball better. They did in the second half. They were, adequate in the second half, but they want a little more balance. So at some point this season, they need to be able to run the ball when they have to run the ball, specifically on the road in November.
Right.
And I wonder, you got to wonder if the Jets won't give them a more opportunity to start to gel a little bit because, look, they're not the Cardinals. What do you think?
Well, Jets' rush defense is actually pretty good. I mean, the Jets are they're a grease fire right now, but they play pretty good defense against the run. I would expect something similar to the attack the Broncos used against the Cardinals, where they're going to come out pass happy and then try to circle back to the run. In the first 3 games of the season, they tried to establish a run and then went back to the pass. I see a situation where they establish the pass and then go back to the run.
I love that. A grease fire. That's a great way to describe what's going on in New York. That goose egg yesterday, Geno Smith and Michael Vick. Troy, when you look at Ronnie Hillman's performance yesterday, we talked about it was in the second half. It was kind of when the game was decided and they were just trying to run the ball a little bit, already up. Peyton Manning had already kind of established we're going to win this game. But going forward, is Ronnie Hillman the number 1 running back at this point?
He is. I mean, Ronnie Ball is going to be out probably a couple of weeks at least with this groin injury. I mean, you hate to see it for him. He had a good off season. He came in at a weight. He was much better in pass protection, yet he could never get any contraction early in the season, and now he's going to be out and possibly lose his job while he's out. But here's the one difference that Ronnie Hillman provides. The Broncos aren't going to be a great run-blocking team. They're a pass-first team, so you can't say be great at passing and be great at run blocking. Those are Hall of Fame type linemen. But what Ronnie Hillman does, guys, is he gets to the hole a little quicker than Monte Ball. Because these holes that open for the run game, they don't stay open very long. And Monte Ball is used to having a hole open for a long time where Hillman can kind of dart through there. And so I think in this scheme, he might have an advantage. And we'll see going forward, but he's clearly the number 1 guy.
Interesting. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you get by Troy being there every single day watching that. A lot of focus, of course, on the kicking game with Prater being let go. Any worries there?
Well, Brandon McManus, if he misses that field goal he clanked in from 40-plus, then the fans would be howling today, and understandably so. I mean, Prater was a lot of drama for a kicker. That you follow the money, that's why he's gone. They save money. But there was also a lot of drama and the concern that with one more positive test for alcohol, he's out for a significant amount of time, basically beginning with a year. And they'd be scrambling in the middle of the season trying to find a kicker when they had one they already liked in McManus. But McManus took the first step. He made a couple of long field goals at home and a victory. Can he do that on the road? Because in fairness to Prater, McManus didn't beat him out. I mean, McManus was just the guy on hand, and it just became too much drama for Prater. But McManus is on the right track with 2 of 3. But remember, this is how good Prater was last year. With that one miss yesterday, that ties Prater for his misses last season. So the bar is high. The other issue is I'm not convinced Matt Prater wasn't going to have a little bit of issue this season because of the issue. You could see it was weighing on his head all camp.
Yeah, he wasn't focused. Yeah.
Yes.
It was mentally, and it was in his head, and I get it. I understand. So was that the Matt Prater they were going to get, or were they going to get the guy from last season?
Maybe they saw a big question mark.
Yeah, I mean, McManus has already missed one. That ties Prater's total for last year.
You're right. But you know what, Troy? You mentioned it. Even though it was a clang off of the upright and went in, it still went in. And so confidence-wise, you're like, wow, I got that one out. I made it. Now let's move on. Troy, last question here. Looking at this divisional race, when you see the Chargers and how well Phillip Rivers is playing under Mike McCoy, who obviously had a season with Peyton Manning and took that over to San Diego and is now, Phillip Rivers looks like he's as good as ever. This is really going to come down to Chargers and Broncos for that division title.
Yeah, Chargers, don't sleep on them. They are really good this year. Phillip Rivers is playing like Peyton Manning was last year. I mean, he's an MVP candidate. They have to beat the Chargers at home. You can't concede that game and then have to go to their place and win on the road. But a big game, big stretch coming up. The Chargers will be this month. And I still think the Broncos can have an advantage because the Chargers are pretty one-dimensional. They're not running the ball well. They've had injuries. So it's a game the Broncos should be able to squeak out. But the Chargers play them like an NFC team. It's a bare-knuckle brawl.
Right.
They're going to keep the score low. So it's going to be an interesting race. What we thought was going to be a Broncos probably easing to the title, that's not going to happen. They're going to have their hands full with the Chargers.
Little rougher road. Troy, great insight.
Yeah, thanks so much,
We appreciate you
Troy.
taking the time.
Anytime, guys. Take care. Have a great morning.
We'll see you.